Hey guys, Desolate Magic here, and you might be familiar with a little bit of lack of proper testing, lack of proper basic ability to do their jobs at Wizards of the Coast. They have an idea, they run with it when it's a disaster and it turns into a ban and, millions of dollars in lost sales and, maybe a good fraction of a million of lost players in the player base. There's no accountability, nobody gets fired, and they just say, I've been here forever, whatever, this is hard. It's actually the precise polar opposite of what a normal human being would do to get more skilled and better at the job that they do. But assessing what you personally did wrong to design a set would of course require them to not all have egos the size of mountains. And with that, the cycle starts all over with the next thing they work on. It's really quite the system they have over there. That's why for years and years and years people have said it's the best card game in the world run by the worst company in the world. Or most incompetent or something. I don't know. Last time I checked, EA won worst company in the world. I think Wells Fargo won it 1 year too. Anyway, it turns out that Wizards is not the only massively careless, poorly run, just disastrously cycling the drain, mismanaged shitstorm of a company making a card game. See, if I didn't add making a card game to the end, you would have thought I'm talking about EA, but no. We're talking about Bethesda. Oh wait, even I got confused. We're talking about Blizzard. Or maybe Google Stadia. I don't know. Could be anything at this point. But no, let's focus on Blizzard. If you didn't hear very recently, for their trading card game that they've been running for a while called Hearthstone, which always was digital, they released an update that in Magic terms would be the equivalent to adding a new color. I think their game calls them factions, and it's what cards you play, so it's basically a color. And they have like themes and tendencies and weaknesses and strengths, except for the new one they just added. It does not have weaknesses. So they've been hyping this up and they've been working on it for a while. And they kept saying, we're going to do it right. We're not just going to release a new thing. It'll be horribly overpowered and then everybody's forced to buy into it and it'll just be a sales scam. They are carefully playtesting and balancing it, and it's going to be a huge, huge, huge thing. Fast forward to release. Holy shit. Now, by the way, I've never played Hearthstone. I know next to nothing about it. I'm just, reading up on what happened. So if I get some terms and some little details wrong, I'll just tell you to expect it. But generally, here's how it went down. Okay? This new class is called Demon Hunter or something, and it's nowhere near as cool as the band. Where my Demon Hunter fans out there at? And you know how in Magic, red is the aggro color and the direct damage, and then blue is the card draw, slow control, shut down your opponent kind of thing. White is life gain with high combat capabilities, and then green is monstrously huge unstoppable creatures. Yeah, this one is aggro mixed with card draw mixed with healing. And in the words of one of the longtime players, you cannot beat it early game with tempo, and you can't beat it long term with value because it will beat you on both accounts. And also, there's an undercosted board wipe that everybody hates. Or I should say hated. I think that's one of the ones they removed. The mana system is actually somewhat similar to Magic, actually. So they have a 5-cost board wipe. And it's not a board wipe. It's an opponent's field board wipe. That's what we in the Magic world call an asymmetric board wipe. It does a 2-turn countdown and then nuke. So it's control, aggro, healing, card draw, and outpacing with long game value bombs. So it has no weakness and does everything. So according to the competitive ranking publicly available stats, and this is hilarious, out of all the other colors or whatever the hell they call them, this new one was the only one to have a win rate above 50%. Every single other one had a win rate below 50%, which means that if you're playing anything but the new decks and the new faction or whatever, you could not progress in the competitive rankings. It was impossible. You would not mathematically be able to win enough games to be above 50% and progress. And I think there's 8 to 10 other factions or something. It's insane. So every single one of them lost to this one so badly that they all, universally across the board, dropped below 50%. And remember, sometimes they played each other, so against the actual new decks, they probably were losing 70% of the matches. That's how disgustingly overpowered this was. I mean, this is careless levels of just lack of doing basic math, basic playtesting. And I mean, yeah, they have several million players, but they pretty much found out within a day that something was not good with this. Now, I don't have an exact time frame here, but people are telling me that this was considered one of the fastest ban decisions ever. And it wasn't even a ban decision. I'm just, using Magic terms. They took 4 cards, which for them is like a lot. I mean, we're looking at Magic and they could ban 6 at a time because, idiots mismanaging the format, plus a bunch of formats that were never planned. Like, you just kind of throw new cards into it and see what happens and then fix it from there. But yeah, 4 is considered a lot, apparently. That's what I'm being told. And they nerfed 4 cards. So they either, changed their cost or changed what they do, just moved some numbers around, whatever. I don't know what they did, but they somehow nerfed it. So they think that's enough to fix it. I'm hearing otherwise. So the one question on everybody's minds and everybody's lips on social media is, did you guys playtest this at all? Because at this point, there's only one of 2 things that could have happened. 1, no, they rushed it out and just whatever, hit a deadline, whatever. Or 2, they didn't care. They wanted people to be forced to buy it in large numbers. So they wanted it to probably have like a 51% edge, and they went a little far. Now, remember, back in Wizards Land, that's what they just did. They admitted in that article, we made a conscious, purposeful decision to make Standard more powerful in general, across the board, across all the colors, so that we can sell singles from new Standard sets to Modern and Commander players. Instead of saying, greedy, we want more money, give me all that cheddar, yo, which is what they were thinking, they made up some bullshit like, it's not fair to the players. I kid you not, that is approximately what they said. It's not fair to the players to print a product that's only for one group, which would be Standard players. They want Commander and Modern people to feel included and involved. I mean, there's literally a product called Modern Horizons. And now that I think about it, Commander. And you guys know that nothing good happens in Standard when the power level goes too high, because then the power level of the decks go too high. I mean, if you got, 1,800 cards to choose from, and some of them are just ridiculous, you're going to find some ridiculous combos. And then, if a card takes off in Commander, Modern, and Standard because it's really, really good, it's going to be a $20 card, and you're not going to be able to afford to drop, 80 to, in some cases, 100 plus for a playset just to play, the strategy. And then if you're not playing it, well, you might not have a chance of winning. So Wizards openly admitted they did it on purpose. They're printing broken, overpowered shit on purpose. They're pushing through things that their better judgment theoretically says they shouldn't do because, well, we're supposed to be going for a higher power level. Maybe it will work out. Now, you can't say it was all, non-accidental. It was on purpose. It was forced. It was pushed because, Hostage Taker accidentally comboed with itself infinitely. That's not on purpose. That's just whoops. The Saheeli Cat Infinite combo, they claim that was accidental. They were not aware of it. But after, on multiple occasions, blatantly lying about the Eldrazi Winter situation in Modern a couple years ago, they said, no, we didn't see it coming. We absolutely did not see this coming at all. We had no idea. No idea that this would take off or be popular. When we make Standard, we don't play test for Modern, okay? Modern's a secondary format. Our primary product is Standard. We don't care about Modern, and we'll fix everything with bans and blah, 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 blah. And then, a couple weeks later, one staff member came out and publicly said, yeah, we knew exactly what this would do to Modern. We knew that the Eldrazi would probably be problematic in Modern. We just don't care because our focus is Standard. So they did know, they were aware of the power level. They were aware of the playability because, hello, these people have built Modern decks before. And then they let multiple tournaments in a row get ruined because Modern was so stale that they wanted to see if this was the shakeup that would stop people from playing all that old stuff so that they wouldn't have to just across the board ban it all. Because people were sick to their ass after 6 years of, Artifact Affinity and Jund. Actually, that one's not that bad of a deck. And I think even Splinter Twin was still legal back there and Amulet Bloom. People were just playing the most, same old win condition over and over and over. Glass Cannon combo, Storm, what a snooze that was. Just boring, repetitive, overpriced $1,000 net decked bullshit is all Modern became. So they purposely let it ruin tournaments so that it might shake things up without them having to ban stuff and be the bad guys. According to my information, that was the logic that went into, no, let's see if it gets even worse at the next tournament. And 75% of the decks are Eldrazi, and they're like, okay, I guess we have to do something at this point. We can't play dumb anymore. So they've done a mix of just careless accidents, allegedly, and purposely damaging the game to make more money pretty much in every case, or to fix another problem. So they cause a problem to fix another problem. And I've got a ton more examples. Like they said Collected Company, one of the most hated cards in the history of Standard, and one of the cards that people were just calling for to get banned the entire time that it was in Standard. Not to mention some people want to get banned from Modern. The designer of it, what's his name? Aaron Forsyth. He said in an interview, it was a gimmicky card that we thought might be for like draft. We didn't think anybody would realistically play it in a competitive deck. Fast forward, it's one of the most played cards in Standard, and just, yeah, free casting 2 things while tribals are hot. But somebody might play that, you think, maybe? Dumbass. So that actually was a mistake, allegedly. And then Oko. Oh, we didn't think anybody would use Oko defensively. Bullshit, you didn't. Nobody's that stupid. Okay, forgetting that Hostage Taker fails to reference itself. That's an oversight, that's an accident. Thinking that you wouldn't use a removal spell or removal ability on a Planeswalker that's a plus against your opponent. Really, I don't buy it for a second. They were pushing it, he's the main character, and they wanted to sell him to Commander players. It's that simple. Hell, they obviously wanted to sell him to Modern players as well. I mean, what else is he banned in right now? Everything? So they've been a mix of careless and purposeful mistakes, both of which damage the game. But it seems like nobody really knows what's going on with Blizzard with Hearthstone. Was this on purpose to sell cards? Or was this them just rushing and not hiring good enough people, cutting the budget for playtesters, all this stuff? We know Blizzard is losing money left and right, so there's got to be firings going on. In fact, there were firings going on at Blizzard. It was several hundred people, I think. Unless that was EA, but I think they both did it. I mean, I remember the headlines. So we're never going to find out unless there's like a whistleblowing leaker, which at this point there might be, who says, no, this was on purpose. We knew the power level. We play tested it. We knew how bad it was, but we released it anyway because then people have to buy it. Because we need money because we're losing money left and right for kissing China's ass. Oh, and releasing shitty, just garbage disasters of products that they call games. So was it a scam or was it just, people not doing their jobs, rushing everything? Oops. Were they actually blindsided by the effect that this had on the game? I don't know. I feel like it was a lack of effort in testing. I think they just threw them out there and people are so arrogant to work there that they're like, no, this will work. No, I know what makes a good deck. This is fine. But then again, if there's already like 8 or 9 or 10 factions or whatever the hell you can play as, and then they just add another one and it's just okay, it's not the most powerful faction in the game at the moment, people will be like, take it or leave it. All right, I got my deck. Oh, something new and interesting to play. Cool. What reason do I have to play it? Nothing. I mean, if you're not going to like have a really good win rate with it, why bother? So did they do it on purpose just with Wizards of the Coast strategy of, we can ban it later? I almost feel like with how greedy they've been lately, that even seems like the more likely thing. But I could see it being an accident due to understaffing and unskilled people, which is who they surround themselves with at the company now. Well, we will likely never get to the bottom of this mystery, but at least makes me feel better about Wizards of the Coast to know that there's an equally incompetent card game manager out there as well. And I mean, you look at like why Legend of the Five Rings failed. You look at why I could name 3 other games right now that failed. It's all because of the actions of the people behind it. They are very sensitive, these card games. And if you do something stupid to devalue something, reprint something at the wrong time, or print something too powerful, print stuff too often, price something wrong, distribute something stupidly, it all falls apart. That's why when people say, Wizards is too big to fail. Nope. Hearthstone was arguably bigger, and I heard they've lost more than half their players in the last 2 years. At the rate Wizards is losing players, plus what's going on right now in the world, they are in deep shit. So they picked the wrong time to break the game with a bunch of purposely overpowered shit. And playtesters and design people that have zero accountability, no consequences, they never look back and learn from their mistakes. They just keep going forward, arrogantly thinking, I've been with the company so long, I'm the most qualified in the world to do this, and everybody makes mistakes, and this is hard, and blah, blah, blah. All the excuses, Well, that is setting up for a disaster, and that's what this is. As if people didn't have enough, reasons to boycott Blizzard, like morally and politically and stuff. Now they just broke the game to an unplayable state again. And this was one of the fastest card nerfs on such a wide scale that has ever been in the history of the game. Because they know that, like, they see the numbers. They're like, oh my God, like a quarter of the people logged in just today. Holy shit. Like, playing is down 75% because people are not going to play if they have zero chance of winning. So this was like the emergency ban to end all emergency bans. I wish Wizards would do that more often and, micromanage the game kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh does. I mean, they're mismanaging the shit out of that game. They made a giant set of disastrous mistakes in a row that cost them almost every customer they have lately. but they really have an extensive ban list. They get on that shit from what I heard. So I think Wizards needs to do that, especially when they come in like a wrecking ball and just destroy everything in their path, and then start trying to piece together the pieces after that. If you're gonna be careless, you have to at least be ready to patch it up. You know, you gotta be on it, realizing how stupid you are and how bad you are at your job. You have to be ready to pick up the pieces and try to put them together into some semblance of a glued together game that kind of functions. But their ban policy has been described by themselves as wait and see if it gets better. Wait to see. Let's see the next tournament. Let's see if it's consistent. Let's see if it fixes itself. When the whole community is screaming at them, it won't. We've been playing Magic for years. We're looking at it. This will not fix itself. Fix it yourself. We need a ban. And they're like, no, let's wait and see. Well, let's not wait and see, because right now Standard needs banned. Hydra's Growth, the Golos card, Steel Sentinel, Edgewall Innkeeper, Trawler, Risen Reef, Witch's Oven, Torbrand, Agent of Treachery, Thassa, Embercleave, and Cavalcade. Bare minimum. That is the minimum number of cards that need to go for there not to be a deck that's just impossible to play against. And I left out stuff that's just like annoying, that's very highly hated by the community. No, this is like the game-breaking shit. I just realized Fires of Invention isn't on that list. Oops, I'm adding it now. I'm making a list for a future video, but that's the preview for you. And there's 8 more in Ikoria. All the ultimatums and then 3 more. So they're up to 21 cards that need to be removed for the game to be playable in any state, or Standard to be playable. Good luck with that. I'm sure they'll react quickly and fix it. I'm very confident of that. So anyway, things are bad all around in the TCG world. Good time for one to come in and stomp them, except the last one to try and do that was run by Steam, and they're a bunch of idiots. Richard Garfield designed the game, and then they decided, we know better than you, and we want to make money. They made it a greedy shithole of a game, and then it died quicker than almost anything I've ever seen. Mismanagement and greed by the company, and purposeful lack of proper playtesting and listening to your own numbers. Bye-bye game. It's dead. So it can happen. It will happen to Magic the Gathering if Wizards doesn't get their shit together in the next year. Here's hoping they do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.